Well, good afternoon or good evening here in the USA. And if you're overseas, it's already Saturday morning. And I am Bruce, aka known by a lot of people as the guy in the blue shirt here. And I've got my blue shirt on. And we'll talk a little bit about why I wore my Manchester United one for Ian today. And also, I go by the philosophy of simpler, faster, better. And I'm delighted to reintroduce Ian. Ian and I have spoken at length before from an introduction by Cecilia Wong, and Cecilia can't join us tonight, so she's busy with another client. So Ian, why don't you say hi to everybody, and then we'll talk about what you're up to, which is about to show off an amazing invention, right?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ian. I'm the president of 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍. We're based in Silicon Valley, and we design, develop, and manufacture all our products here and ship globally from Silicon Valley, California.
Yeah, yay for the valley, right? Good job. Keeping lots of people employed up in the valley, the most expensive place on the planet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about a little bit of history about how you got into biodigesters, and then talk about why they're going to be so important, particularly as we enter the new year. And then you're about to unveil your brand new machine at a trade fair soon, and you're going to do a sneak preview here, as I understand it, right?
So there's lots of things that you said there, Bruce. Okay, so I backed into biodigesters. I started the company 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍 in order to do a different product, and that product, we still sell that product through a different side group, but the main focus is on the LFC biodigester, and I was trying to sell my other product to the Hyatt Regency here in Silicon Valley. And the facilities manager didn't want to buy it, and I asked him what else, what other kind of things he might be interested in, and he took me around the back to his dumpster and said, look here at this dumpster with all the rats and the flies. If you can get rid of this waste food coming out here, then that's a product I will buy. And 2 years later, we delivered it to him. He was one of our first customers, and so we backed into it. And now the original business is now such a very small part of what this company does.
Right.
And so now we sell the LFC biodigester in 8 different sizes, varying from 10 kilograms a day up to 3,000 kilograms a day. Have installations in 5 continents, thousands of machines sold.
Right.
So,
but what a great example there. I mean, there's a lot of great examples there. Number one, go see the customer, right, on their own turf. Number two, always ask the customer what they're looking for instead of what we might think they want, right?
yep.
And then way to go, put your money where your mouth is and make the investment, and then go back to the person that said, hey, if you could solve this problem, I will buy it. And what a great commitment on 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍's point of view, yours personally, and what a great commitment from that site facilities director that was looking to improve the way the hotel ran and the pollution problem that it was creating, right?
So, well, yes, he had no idea what the solution would be.
Right.
He just knew he had a problem, and I didn't know how to solve the problem. Obviously, it's like everything that you do in engineering. You don't know what the answer is. you have to sit there and scratch your head, and then years later you look at it and everything seems simple. You explain it to people now, and you say, okay, here's a machine that will eat your waste food. But when we started to try and sell it to people, they looked at us as if we had come from Mars. But now it's a little bit more commonplace. Everybody is aware that sending waste food to a landfill is tremendously bad for the planet.
Right.
Tremendously bad for the environment. It creates huge amounts of methane. And that is 87 times worse for the atmosphere than carbon dioxide.
Right.
And so we've got to get the methane out of the world, and that was a big focus at the COP26 that Biden was pushing to get the methane out of the landfills and out of the air. I mean, there's lots of sources of it, but here in California, methane turns out to be the third largest. Sorry, the landfill methane is the third largest source of methane in California.
Oh, wow.
So it's a terrible thing. We've got to get it out, and we've got to sort it out and clean up the planet.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to welcome some people. Your trusted Cecilia Wong. Hi, Cecilia. She said she was going to hop on. Hey, Philip Davis. Philip Davis is a young up-and-coming leader. Mr. Tom Baker, who I spoke to last night, he has a true blue through and through passion for racing and race car drivers, as I do. And then Bonita Lee, who's a relatively new connection too. She's into actually a lot of compliance things. So we have a great mixed audience here, Ian. And yes, I was blown away when I first started talking with you and Cecilia about the amount of methane gas that landfills produce. And not only that, the fact that it's so high on the tally, and I believe the methane that comes from landfill, it's still either equal to or higher than all of the aviation fuel pollution for methane. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It causes greater environmental impact than aviation.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that we shouldn't make aviation more economical or that we should all fly less, but it's certainly a great pollutant.
Right. Well, the pandemic took care of that, but I'm pretty certain the pandemic did not take care of the amount of food that was going in the landfill. In fact, I believe statistically it probably went up, right? Because there was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, over the past pandemic, over the past couple of years, it's all gone up. And you know, and what's made it worse is that there are laws coming into effect. So there's laws coming into effect in January the 1st for New York and January the 1st for California to ban the organic material from going to the landfill. And so yes, it's so that's created awareness for us. But our initial target customer, and the ones you immediately think of, are restaurants and hotels, and and to a lesser extent corporate cafeteria. And all of those, the restaurants and hotels have all been hit badly over the last 20 months or so. Corporate cafeteria have become sparse, and so there's lots of new markets where we are present and where we are certainly making inroads. As the hotels come back and as the restaurants come back, then yeah, it becomes more important for us to reach these people and tell them there's an alternative to sending waste food to the landfill.
Well, I'm pretty creative about cross-introducing people. So Tom, I know Tom visits a lot of racing circuits, like car racing circuits, and I know they consume a lot of food there. So offline, once I get to know Tom a little better, perhaps we can talk with him about, you know, all of the big racetrack folks that he might know, because that would be another great place, particularly for the smaller machines. And, you know, you never know. I know they try to be socially and economically responsible or eco-friendly, at least all the racetracks I go to. So I think it's probably a good fit for you. So
yes, we have machines in several stadia around the world. As an example, I see you wearing the Manchester shirt there. You know, we put a machine into Manchester Airport just recently, and we just put a couple into Aston Villa Football Club, which is just down the road from Manchester. So so we have them in stadia in the US as well, of course.
Right. So if anyone knows somebody at Liverpool Football Club, that actually is their logo, LFC. Well, it just happens to be. Ian's machines are called LFC, and whatever size model is afterwards. So if anyone knows somebody at Liverpool Football Club or knows somebody that knows somebody, then they need to introduce them to Ian, because Ian would love to put his LFC machines into Liverpool Football Club, and I'm sure if that happened, Manchester United Football Club will be right behind them, because there's a lot of competition there for people that may or may not know about the English soccer scene. So so good for you, man. So
yes,
yeah. So maybe you could do a cute, little commercial about, soccer and the LFC.
But you see, these clubs, then when our distributor in the UK talked to me about it, I said, but there's only 2 teams. Why do they have 14 restaurants on the site? 14, they got 14 chefs and 14 restaurants on the site at Aston Villa Football Club. Because they're creating so many events.
Right.
And it's not just the teams that need feeding, it's all the executives that go to the stands, their private booths and all this.
Right.
So.
And it's funny, Tom Baker and I were talking about that very point last night, that people don't realize, when you go to a road course or a circuit, not so much a street circuit, but when you go to a big event or a big arena, there are thousands of people working on a pretty tight schedule and all in synchronization to make that all happen. And largely speaking, the public that are using the arena or going to the facility, they're clueless about all of the complexity behind the supply chain and just all of the logistics that have to occur to make that event run, let alone all the teams there as well. That's another big topic. So
yeah,
anyway, so yeah, lots of interesting stuff. And again, I've seen some of Benita's stuff. She's commenting as well, some of the things that Benita covers in the whole compliance world is, we're most of people like myself and the rest of the general public, we're clueless about what happens to make sure we get product and services and processes all in place that, keep us legal and keep us safe. So, another great example, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So I know you're pretty excited about what you're going to unveil in Hamburg. Are you allowed to share that with us?
Yes. So we talked earlier about getting on a plane. So I'm getting on a plane for the first time in 20 months. We have an important trade show in Hamburg, Maritime Forum. We're unveiling our LFC25 biodigester there. This is a biodigester capable of eating somewhere between 10 kilograms and 75 kilograms a day.
Right.
It's a small biodigester, so it's a huge shift in technology from all of our other biodigesters. Our other biodigesters are all big, pretty big.
Right.
And they all up to date to now have relied on using an AC motor to drive the shaft and the paddles and the arms. And they all drain naturally to a grade level drain. So they're intended for installation in a industrial or commercial kitchen where there is a ground level drain. The 25 is the size of a residential dishwasher, 600 by 600 millimeters by 880 tall, can fit underneath the counter. And it's designed for places where there is not necessarily a grade level drain, such as our own kitchen here in our facility, where our staff can deposit their waste food from lunch or breakfast into it. And they bring their waste food from home as well to keep it going.
Oh, really? Cool.
and of course, this is not a commercial kitchen. We're a manufacturing facility, so we don't have a grade level drain. And so the waste output from the machine is pumped into the sink in the same way as a residential dishwasher pumps it into the sink plumbing.
Awesome.
And so it's a big change from us. It's got this pump into it, fitting everything, fitting all the complexity into there is very different. And we've gone away from the AC induction motor that we've used on all of our previous machines, and we're using a DC BLDC motor with totally different drive on it, lots of software, lots of hardware to make it all small and fit and compact. So a big change from all of our big machines. A huge engineering challenge for everybody in terms of plumbing, mechanics, electronics, drive, everything is a big change.
Absolutely. So Bonita said, "Is digester?" Yeah. So maybe to us non-techies, so maybe you can explain what a biodigester actually does and what its advantages are. And Cecilia's chiming in as well. So thanks. Yeah. Cecilia has got a lot of information too. So if you're seeing Cecilia in the live stream, you want to connect with her and you have an interest learning more, then she is very knowledgeable as well. So yeah, dumb it down for us, Ian. Or
dumb it down. Well, the biodigester is a machine that will eat waste food. Anybody who is producing food for anything is going to have waste food, whether or not it's just potato peelings. I mean, if you prepare a pineapple, you've got 50% waste with the skin and the head. You've got 50% waste. If you're preparing meat, you've got the fatty bits that you don't serve to the customers. And so everybody who's preparing food has got waste. And typically what's been happening is people have been sending that waste to the landfill.
Right.
When it goes to the landfill, it gets buried on the landfill and it creates methane among a bunch of other nasty, horrible, smelly gases. That's why nobody wants a landfill in their backyard. What our biodigester is it's a big stainless steel stomach. It just digests that waste food, converting everything to water in the same way as our own stomach in some ways, and sending the waste as water, grey water, down the drain. And so it saves, it is an aerobic process. So it's digesting in the presence of oxygen. It is the same as a natural degradation of organic material in a forest. When the leaves of the trees of the forest fall onto the forest floor, they're decomposed or digested in the presence of oxygen, and it doesn't smell. And the inside of our machine doesn't smell, so we don't need any deodorizer for our machine at all. If you put your head deep into one of our machines, at worst, it will smell like stewed carrots or something. So there's no smell associated with it. The machine sits in the kitchen. It sits where the waste food is generated. It avoids having to put the stuff into plastic bags, put it into bins, push it outside into the dump, and dump it into the dump, pay for someone to take it to a landfill, and the environmental consequences of doing that. So it greatly improves the carbon footprint of the business or entity using it. It reduces their costs. It saves them money. It improves operations, and all around is a very, very good machine. As I said earlier, we have thousands of machines installed on 5 continents, and most major cities throughout the globe are now using our machines.
Right. So it seems to me like, so my fast tip would be, if you want to look at an end-to-end supply chain saving, if you make it simpler and faster and better, then imagine what can happen. So, so that's, so people might say, well, Bruce, why are you intrigued in these biodigesters and PowerNot? Well, once I learned what you were doing, it's like a no-brainer to me. It's simpler and it's faster and it's better. And it's just, economically and ergonomically and ecologically. I mean, why wouldn't you want to make an improvement in a process like that? I mean,
well, obviously, the machine costs money. And so there is either a capital expense or there is we arrange leasing in the US. There's a leasing expense, but oftentimes, if you lease it, for example, the cost of the lease per month is less than the cost of the trash collection that you were previously paying. So the machine's going to save money on the day it's installed. Obviously, somebody has to find kitchen space in the kitchen or in the warewashing, the dishwashing area. That's another place where they're commonly installed. And so you have objections like that, and yeah, a lot of people want to save the planet, but it's not obligatory to have for a kitchen. You need a sink, you need a dishwasher, you need a refrigerator, and you need a stove. But people don't know they need a sink, a dishwasher, a refrigerator, stove, and a biodigester. And that's the message that we're getting out to the larger public.
Right, and specifically, they need the what size one again?
Well, the LFC25 is the one for the small people who don't have much waste. Of course, it's very popular. It's one of the trade show that we're going to in Hamburg is a marine trade show.
Right.
We've been very successful installing our biodigesters onto mega yachts.
Right.
And there is a certain gentleman who started a store that originally sold books, who has announced that he's going to build a $500 million yacht, and our biodigester is designed into that yacht. And so yes, it's a big market for us on the yachts. The marine world has a lot of problems with waste food.
Right.
And it is now mandatory that every cruise ship sailing in US waters must have a biodigester. And we have sold hundreds of biodigesters to cruise ships, cruise ship companies, cruise ships that are operating in US waters, and indeed in the Mediterranean as well.
Awesome.
So yes, we've been very successful in the marine business. We're very successful with the yachting business. And so we're going to the trade show in Hamburg, taking the LFC25. That's a popular size for the smaller yachts. When I say smaller yachts, the 50 meters or so, not ones that you or I could afford, Bruce.
Right, exactly.
but the bigger yachts have got some of our bigger machines.
Right. And actually, it's interesting because I also had a visual when things do start to open up again, probably in 22, I'm sure. But, the whole, how do you deal with the food waste from, parks and recreational facilities, whether they have a stadium or not? So, I mean, there's so many opportunities to really improve how we manage our footprint, with the escape of methane gas, and also, how many opportunities we could, put out there to introduce people to the technology. Because again, until I met Cecilia and you, I was clueless that there was even a technology that could solve a really big problem and a really big latent problem that's brewing up unless we deal with it. So,
well, I mean, there are other alternatives to using our machine instead of putting it onto the landfill. And I tell everybody, if you can compost the waste food locally, by locally I mean, within a mile or so, you're not trucking it hundreds of miles. And if you can then use it locally to produce fruit and vegetables, and again, I mean, within a mile or so, not hundreds of miles away, that's 10 out of 10 every time. If you're having to truck it hundreds of miles to a commercial facility, and then truck the compost that comes from that hundreds of miles to where it can be put onto a field, that's not good for the environment. And so there's no silver bullet to getting rid of organic waste. And the same way, anaerobic digestion, I mean, as we talked about, you take the organic waste and you bury it on the landfill, you get methane. Okay, well, then the simple answer is we can take this organic waste and we can have it decompose in the absence of oxygen. And we've got methane that we can then use for cooking and or generating electricity through a turbine. Okay, well, it sounds simple, just like nuclear power plant. It sounds simple. We take these two atoms and we put them together and we've got huge amounts of energy. But by the time you want to build a nuclear power station, it's a mega big thing. And if you want to build an anaerobic digestion facility, it's a huge, great big thing, which costs you tens of millions of dollars to build the facility, and nobody wants that in their backyard. So it's hundreds of miles away from anywhere as well.
Right.
And you've got the same problem you had with compost. It's
Right.
not good for the planet. It's not the best answer for the planet. So
Sure.
yeah, there's no easy answer to getting rid of the organic waste, unfortunately.
Right. But hey, there's at least a stepping stone with you know, at least being open-minded to a biodigester, no matter how and which way you
Yeah,
choose.
you know, the biodigester is going to get an 8 or 9 out of 10 every time, wherever you install it. You know, we have many customers who are on resort islands. So we have resort islands off the shores of North America. We have resort islands in the Maldives. We have resort islands in the Great Barrier Reef. One island in the Great Barrier Reef has got 6 of our machines on one island.
Wow.
And you know, that there's an ecologically friendly environment, right? So what can they do with their organic waste, right? They put it on a boat and they can take it to the shore, and that's tremendously expensive. Some resort islands take it out at sea and just dump the whole stuff. They call it marine feeding, which is dreadful for the planet, dreadful for the environment. So yeah, there are places where there are very, very few alternatives to ours, or at least the alternatives that have existed up till the time we come along are pretty poor.
Right. Well, cool. Well, let's see if we can start more of a mission around what you're doing. So if you have connections that are in the Hamburg region, then tell us a little bit about the dates of the show and the opening times. And
the show is the 4th, and no, it's the we fly out on Friday, 3rd and 4th of December.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so I think I got that right. Let me just check my calendar here.
Sure. Cecilia will put you right. If not.
Yeah, she'll put me right.
It's in a pretty large convention center in.
It's the 30th and the 1st.
Okay.
In Hamburg. Yeah, at the Marine Plaza. In Hamburg. So a lot of cruise ship operators, yacht operators, a lot of the container ship operators, oil rig operators should all be there.
All right. Hi, Elise. So we got some great connections I've not seen for a while. So thanks for hopping on, Elise. And I know she's very planet environmentally friendly as well. So yeah, so that's November 30th and December 1st in Hamburg. So again, if you happen to have any connections or people in the regions or the businesses that Ian has mentioned prior to, and if you miss them, I'll have him do a final shout out here where his machines are really a good fit for biodigesting.
We have a very, very important announcement first thing in the new year. Bruce, I would love to tell you. I'd love to tell you about it now, but I'd have to shoot you. And everyone on this call.
You're just lining yourself up to come back on the 1st of the new year, right?
1st of the year, yes.
Yeah, 1st of the new year, right? Okay, why not? I'll have you back anytime because number one, I'm very passionate about at least the mission of what you're doing, and again, to me, it's just fits right in line with my thinking. Why not make the end-to-end issue of dealing with waste food, you know, simpler, faster, better, and everybody wins. And it's about, you know, cleaning up the process. I mean, I'm all about process cleanup, and I love the fact that you guys are really aggressively going after cleaning up the whole process of dealing with food waste. So, I mean, to me, it just fits right in my genre. So I'm always happy to talk to you and always happy to work with Cecilia to help make this happen. So no problem.
Good. Thank you, Bruce.
All right. So yeah, just give us a highlight. What industries, for people that might be tuning in late, what industries are a good fit for the use of your biodigesters? Or if you would like to reach out to Cecilia Wong here. She's very active on LinkedIn, and will be very responsive to any inquiries or guidance that you might be able to give her in terms of people that need to be introduced to PowerNot. So
yeah, so any industry that's producing large amounts of waste food, our machines will digest anywhere from 10 kilograms up to 3,000 kilograms a
per
day.
day, per day.
Per day.
Oh wow! All right, good.
Yeah,
All right, and then
but not residential,
not
only commercial.
only commercial. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Maybe some point in the future, the baby machine will go into people's kitchens. You know.
Well, you know, we have a Sheikh's Palace in the Middle East, and he has an LFC 1000 for
Oh, cool.
1,000 kilograms of waste food in his personal residence every day.
Oh my goodness! Imagine how many people he has on staff. Or maybe the animals are eating a bunch. I don't know. Maybe
crazy, huh?
Crazy. That's 1,000 kilos a day.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa. That must be. Have you been to the palace? That's what I want to know.
only from the outside. They don't allow people like me to go in. Ding dong.
Ding dong. Here. Yeah. Hey, I'm here to check on your biodigester.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Go take a walk in the desert, right?
Yes. Something like that, I think.
Right. Actually, I've been in that environment. I actually have a Sudanese brother-in-law, and I spent some time behind the scenes, as it were. So I have a unique perspective that a person from a Western country got to spend some time in the old city of Jeddah, which is very, very anti-Western world. So
yes.
Yeah, so I have many stories about that adventure. So and many watch out moments about what not to do. So yeah. So yeah, I literally almost got myself shot, literally, for doing the wrong thing at the wrong time without knowing I was doing the thing at the wrong time. So anyway, they dealt with my problem, which is they got rid of me. Yeah. I was happy to leave that environment. So
I imagine so. When they said, "Don't worry, we'll send an armed guard to the airport to meet you. It'll be safe." That was the point where I decided that I didn't really need to go and visit.
Well, yeah, I've been in that environment too. I used to work in a pretty poor neighborhood in Mexico, and our plant manager was an American guy, and he was under constant security with AK-47s because of the whole risk of absconding him for a ransom. So yeah, it's pretty weird when I went to his house for supper one night, and you go to the gate and there are literally 4 or 6 guys with AK-47s, and they strip search you almost before you can even go in for dinner. So it's yeah. Strange. We take for granted our freedom, for sure.
We do indeed.
All right. Well, awesome job, and awesome review of what you've got coming up. And thanks for teasing me about the next new announcement in the new year. So we'll have to have you back for that. And again, I'm just going to hang on a minute. I'm just going to do a little opportunity to do a little plug here for myself, a little bit about what I do. So hang on and see if you like my...
So, what if your processes do not work well? Did you know you can save or eliminate massive amounts of wasted steps, time, money, or other resources? Bruce can show or teach you how. Take the next step. Visit his website at 𝒂𝒂𝒍𝒆 and book a casual yet confidential call with Bruce. It just might change your world forever.
Hey, there we go. See? Process.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I don't know who that unrecognizable guy is with the tie at the back, though.
You mean the last slide? That guy with that stiff upper lip and that very crisp blue shirt.
That's right.
That was me.
Can't be anybody we know.
Yeah, well, good to have you, man. Safe travels over there. And if anyone has questions or would like to refer people to talk to, PowerNot or Ian or Cecilia's in the live feed here. So you can, if you're watching this as a replay, you can reach out to Cecilia. She would love to talk with you more. And if you do have connections in Hamburg or the Hamburg, Germany area, have them go over and meet Ian and Cecilia in person on November 30th and December 1st.
Right. Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Right.
Hang on there, Ian. Bye.